What up? We are live. My name is Stu McLaren. This is
James Wedmore.
And James has flown in to the Toronto area. We've been spending the last couple days masterminding. We've been working on a new project of yours, which I'm excited about. And one of the things that I asked James specifically was, in the last 12 months, what are 20% of the activities, marketing activities, that have produced 80% of the results? And you had a hard time answering this. Why?
Because it felt like it was more than 20%. It felt like there were a couple things. It wasn't just one thing, right? That there were, it was a larger percentage. And really what that ultimately came down to was our balance of doing both evergreen funnels and live launches. And I feel like people are adverse to
there's usually like camps, right? Like there's like the live launch, which obviously I'm a big proponent of. I love live launches. Then there's like the evergreen funnels, right? And usually people either fall into one camp or the other, right? Like the traditional direct response upbringing, if you will. The camp will lean toward evergreen because it's Facebook ads or advertising to some lead generator to then some conversion mechanism.
Yes.
And then live launches, people love live launches because it's an event and it creates this massive momentum.
Yep.
I want to know, by the way, as we get talking about this, what about you? What's your preference? Do you like live launches or do you side more toward evergreen launches? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. And Jamie, good to see you, buddy.
Hi, Jamie.
So when we got talking about this, you are kind of like right in the middle. You don't really favor one way or the other. Talk to us about that.
Well, it's like the difference between a fire hose and a dripping faucet is really how I look at it, right? And so the live launch is this big fire hose where it's a short burst of massive surge for a short amount of time, and the energy, you're throwing everything at the wall, the experience that's created, there's so much going on that we know that makes an impact. That
it's like tons of social proof, and
there's the social proof, there's the interaction, there's the live, there's
it's like a whole new energy.
Yes, and then it's like gone before they know it, right? So that we know is extremely powerful, but that to me isn't sustainable, and I don't like doing that once or twice a year, and then in the meantime it's just like flatlining.
You know how I kind of look at it too? Like, here's another way to look at it. Like I was talking to you about something I'm very excited about. The Super Bowl of concerts is that I will be attending later this year, which is two of my all-time favorite bands. Mumford & Sons is opening up for U2. I mean, you cannot get a better concert. But the way I would think about launches versus evergreen would be like live concerts versus record sales.
Right.
So like think about that. Like, live concerts are exciting because like it's an event and everybody shows up and there's a lot of hype and blah blah blah, and people use it, like the artists use it to really drive their albums.
It's about being there, right?
Yeah.
To say like I was there.
It's
I'm
an
going
experience.
to this. Yes.
And you get caught up in that.
Yeah.
But if the artist didn't have the ongoing sales of their songs now, like records back in the old days, it's hard to sustain because they'd be on the road all the time.
Yep, absolutely. So
for you, it's both.
It's absolutely both. And what's funny is it's both, but one creates the other.
Okay, talk to me about this.
So I think I hear a lot of my students and audience asking me about how do I automate this? How do you create an evergreen campaign? And I think the big mistake that people are making is starting with evergreen, and they haven't proven the messaging, they haven't proven the offer yet, or any of the marketing. And so, when we do evergreen, we're using a traffic source such as paid advertising or Facebook ads, and that's paid traffic. And really, the ultimate holy grail is to make sure that you can get cold traffic. Someone who doesn't even know you can be converting as soon as they go into your funnel or your offer. And I think it's so much harder and longer to learn if you've got an offer that works and a funnel that works if you're doing it automated to cold traffic than if you ran it live first. And so what we do is we always start with the live launch, and when we find that we have all the successful ingredients of it, we go, great, this works. How do we now automate it? How do we get this to keep working for us, right? I look at everything as bridges from where I am and where I want to be, and how do I create a money bridge to get there. And once that bridge is there, it's like, okay, how do I keep that bridge sustaining and just doing its own thing so I can create another one and another one.
And I want to kind of unpack a few things that you said, but I also am grateful for the comments that are coming in. We're going to get to some of those in just a minute. So if you do have questions about live launch versus evergreen launch, let us know in the comments. And if you know somebody who could benefit from this, share it. Click this, share it. Okay, quick question on this though. So when you are doing live, one of the things that I know about you, and you're a master at this, is you don't do a big live launch right out of the gate. You do very controlled live launches with beta groups, and we do this too.
Yeah.
So we don't we roll it out in a smaller beta group. So a perfect example was last year, for example, we rolled out our signature course Tribe.
Yes.
But prior to that, I had done literally a beta launch, like 5 small beta launches in the form of a workshop. To do the exact same thing that you were talking about here was learning live, like learning how to craft the messaging, craft the offer, and craft what it is you're going to be providing based on live feedback.
Yes.
From that's easy. That was a much easier way to be able to gather that feedback.
Well, and I think a big misconception people have about the concept of doing something live or doing a launch is that it has to be perfect, that this is your one, like Eminem, this is my one shot, one opportunity. And it's so not true.
Are you going to break out?
I'm going to spit some fire. All right, stop. Collaborate. No.
Whoa, we're going old school.
We'll do that at the end. But this is your one chance. Like, all eyes are on you, and if you screw this up, you're doomed. I talk to so many of my students who get so frozen, so stuck when it comes to putting their product out there and doing a live launch. And I say, what's the worst that's going to happen? What are you afraid is going to happen? They're like, that my audience will, never love me again. They'll never buy from me again. If this doesn't work, then I'm out of the marketplace. And it's just so not true. We developed the Silicon Valley method within my company of fail fast.
Minimum viable product,
fail fast, fail often, and fail forward. Like, everything I've learned to help me grow has come from the outcome of whatever launch or promotion I just ran, and taking the time to look at the debrief, look at what worked, what didn't, look at all those darn mistakes I made and say, how can we make this better next time? And I know people that are launching the same product 2, 3, 4 times a year live, and then they get it perfect, and then they say, great, how can we start to automate that?
And I think here's another key to that, is that when we talk about being able to fail quickly, if you will, or if we build on what we talked about earlier, like learn quickly, is that with a live audience, you can learn a lot faster, especially if you're doing a live launch, because you got more people quickly coming through that process. Yes. And you get more feedback, and it allows you to make those changes, those modifications in a lot faster way than Evergreen. But once you've got that dialed in, and this is where I think a lot of people, and I would put myself in this category, that I have not done a good job of transitioning from, okay, I've got a great thing that works live, now how do we evergreen that thing? And you have. So how do you know when to make that transition from live and now turn it into an evergreen?
That's a really good question. I'm curious to know why you feel like you've gotten stuck there. I feel like there's 2 things that really hold people back if they have a winning offer.
Yep.
The technology, and kind of, because you gotta.
Let me ask.
Yeah.
If you've ever held back from evergreen launches, what has held you back from it? Let us know in the comments, and we'll get to that in a second, but keep going. So you say the technology is one. The
technology, and even just like, some people feel like they can't conceptualize what an automated or evergreen like, how do I actually make it unique to each person and close it down for this person and not, and then the second thing is this kind of fear of, boy, if I'm removed from it, if it doesn't have this live piece of me, if I can't offer the live coaching component or all that live support or anything like that, will people still buy it? And those are what I see are the 2 things that hold people back. I don't know if either of those resonated.
Yeah, definitely. You. Like, the technology side of it has definitely held me back personally. Fortunately now, with the team just back there, we're in a better position to be able to evergreen a lot of stuff. But that has held me back, because like it's much easier to quickly set up a landing page for a webinar or for video series or whatever.
Yeah.
But the technical components of like campaigns that are tied to people coming in at different points in time and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of throwing me out.
And that is like my wheelhouse. Like I love that. So like when we open something like Infusionsoft, which most people call Confusionsoft, and they have the campaign builder, and you start with this, what I really feel like is a canvas.
You got giddy like a schoolgirl.
This is like my this is my canvas in which I will paint my automated masterpiece, and it's just like that for me gets me super excited. When it comes to an evergreen, it's like, okay, when we were live, we were throwing everything against the wall. It's like one day you're doing a Facebook Live like this, and then you've got ads, you've got these emails, you're doing all these other things. But when you switch to evergreen, I think it just becomes like super calculated and strategic, and it's for lack of a better words, it's kind of like this Chinese torture, like drip fed, like and that's how I look at it. Is it's like you're just constantly adding people into this machine, and
well, the thing that I love about evergreen is that it's like you get to dial in that process.
Yes.
So like with a live launch, like it's like and it's hard to split test things, and it's hard to like adjust things or tweak
adjust them live.
Because
like you're going 80 miles an hour, and it's like, okay, great, we're gonna make a 90-degree turn.
Yeah,
and that's
it's hard to do live, but
Yeah.
like with an evergreen, like you're saying, like because it's a slower process, you can make those tweaks and adjust and really dial it in.
Yeah. So when we start a campaign, like what was really cool is we started an automated campaign right before my wedding last year in May. So that was our last project before I took a week off to get married, and then another week off after the wedding. And we spent 2 weeks, Scrum style project, building out a complete evergreen funnel. And yes, we followed the minimum viable promotion or project. It didn't even have a sales page connected to it. And we just did a very simple automated webinar that I had taken from a live webinar that I already knew worked, and created an automated presentation, automated follow-up sequence. And when we went live, for the first week, we were just doing $10 to $20 a day in paid ads, just to test it, just to send some people through the funnel. And then we were able to look back at the different pieces of it and say, especially when you know your numbers and you know the guidelines or the benchmarks of where those numbers are supposed to be, we can say, man, we need to improve this area, or we need to improve this. And as you move each little piece up, the whole funnel improves until you've really refined the system. And this is one funnel. That was one I was telling you before. Is just a $10,000 a week automated campaign.
It just works like crazy.
Okay,
I want to get to a couple questions because I saw a couple good ones that were popping through here. Let me just quickly see. Travis Sherry, good to see you, buddy. He said, great point, James. Fail fast, fail often. Okay, Jamie had a question here. Where is it? Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So Jamie said, for a while I felt bad doing evergreen when I had a live launch with doors only open for a few days and then closed until next time's promise. But I think I just need to adjust my promise. So actually, let me ask you this. How do you balance, like, if you're selling something evergreen, but you're also doing a live launch, do you shut the evergreen off for a while? Do you keep it on? Do you change the offer slightly? What's your approach there?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that our evergreen funnels that we're running are not the same products.
Interesting.
So we tend to not use the same product evergreen as we launch live.
Okay, so this is an important distinction. So you've got products that you launch live, and you don't build out an evergreen campaign, and then you've got evergreen campaigns that you don't launch live.
Yes.
But initially with the evergreen campaigns, it started live. Gotcha.
And so where we're at now, and what we really like, is our lower ticket items. So in our market, $200 to $300 or less, we would consider the lower ticket item, and those are all on our automated campaigns. Where something like my signature program, which is going to be at a $2,000 price point, we would reserve just for the live aspect. We still could make that automated, and maybe one day we will, but I don't foresee that anytime soon. So
which we were mapping out here this past couple of days.
Yes,
It's gonna
we
be
were.
a pretty sweet product.
So, but I still want to answer your question. Is that when we go into that live launch? Yes, I cut off all of our automated campaigns, and we used to not do that. And what it did is caused market confusion. And so someone would be introduced to us, and they're looking at product A or funnel A, and then all of a sudden they're getting swept up by another ad for the launch, because it's impossible to fully separate the two when it comes to like Facebook and stuff. So people are like halfway in one funnel and then they're caught in this live thing, and it just caused confusion. So about 15 to 20 days, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks before a live launch, we do either slow down or cut off any automated.
And then what's the time frame after you've done the live launch?
Probably another 2 weeks after. And so it's actually a good time for us to like now look back at the funnels and work on how we can improve them. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is that the automated campaigns aren't making the same type of revenue that a launch does if you were to count in the same time period. But over the course of the year, it might add up to that. But we've run campaigns where we haven't changed anything. The copy, the content, the messaging, the ads for a year. So to have something that's truly, building your list, and generating new customers daily, that is completely hands off, that you don't even have to worry about for 12 months, has just been like the most amazing thing. And what it ultimately does internally is gives us a lot of space and financial freedom to let that fuel the live launch. So for us, we just see it as like they just play so well together.
Yeah, for us, and the way our team thinks about it is that lower priced products, which we would typically call like front end products, right? That's what we're looking to build evergreen funnels out for. Yes. Higher priced products, that's what we're looking to maintain with live launches. So I think that there's a number of factors that come into it, but for us, that's one of the easy distinctions. If it's a lower priced product and it's more of a front end product, almost like for us, the way we look at it is low priced product that we generate high quality leads, but we pay for the leads with the price of the product. That's what we want to set up evergreen, and we want to set a whole bunch of those up, and we want to scale those up.
And you brought this up yesterday when we were talking, and this was our unintentional strategy, and we saw it working in the last 2 years, is that, and I think you're already alluding to it, is that these front-end offers are really priming the pump for that big program, that big offer, that when people have a lower threshold to say yes to you, to invest at a lower price point and experience some of your genius, some of your awesomeness, they are so much more likely to become a repeat customer and say yes to the bigger things. And so when we offered this $2,000 product, we were able to go back and see how many of them were previous customers. And, and it was huge.
Because for you had a whole bunch of lower priced products.
Yes.
And you had generated this big customer base, of which, as you said, a large majority of them had then upgraded to your higher priced product. And I think for everybody listening, like this is really one of the nuances of evergreen, live, high priced products, low priced products, is understanding how they all synergistically work together.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other. It's a both, like doing them both.
And I think that's such a big question that people have, is like, we just surveyed our audience recently. It was like, what is the way? What is the strategy? What is the one and only solution? And I guess for me personally, it's like, it's really, the answer is like, how many strategies can I implement? Really, I want to do as many of the ones that fit for me and work for my audience as possible, and how can I marry them all together? And so I really do see how the automated and the live really coexist together.
Well, it's like what we were having a little brainstorm earlier, because we were talking about course versus membership site.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I'm a massive proponent of membership sites, but I love courses too. And it's not one or the other. It's like, how can they work synergistically together? And it's the same with live versus evergreen. Okay.
So yeah, and while you're finding a question, then the solution becomes, or the real question is which one do I start with? And when it's an evergreen versus live conversation, you always start live. You always lock in the offer, lock in the promotion, so you know you got your messaging right. Then we look for a way
and
to
get the
automate
feedback.
it. Get all that feedback, the testimonials, get the numbers to where you like them. Then we look for ways to automate it.
Because Clint, shout out to you, Clint. Heading over to Australia in a couple of weeks. Clint asked, with Evergreen, have you found there's a certain price point that works well? So not over $1,000 when selling from an automated webinar.
That's a great question, and I have a feeling that depending on how you set up the Evergreen, that the price and the market, of course, that the price isn't going to make as much of a difference as you think. For me, and this is just, I can only speak to my personal experience on this right now, is we're selling $200 to $300 products off a 45-minute webinar, and people are joining that webinar within an hour of seeing the registration page and registering, and then investing in one of these programs in an hour. So I think part of it is what type of evergreen funnel are you doing? And if it's a higher price, there may just need to be more front-end value and more done in the marketing and messaging in order to get that yes. And the beautiful thing is too, and this just starts to get into so many other conversations, is what you can do to kind of add a live piece to the automatedness. And here's what, right? Is the automatedness?
Is that your own word?
Like the awesomeness of automatedness. And for example, we have clients and students who are using things like text messaging and Facebook Messenger and type of stuff to daily check in and have sales conversations with people that are going through an automated funnel. So it's a way to and it doesn't have to be you. It could be someone on your team, a customer support rep or something. So for example, even though we have these automated funnels, we have live chat on our sales pages and on our checkout pages. So someone on my team can support them. And I think that's a really, important thing is okay, you can automate the marketing, but you don't need to automate your human interaction.
Well, this is a good point because last question I do want to take and give some shout outs to James for sharing. Give him some thumbs up and some hearts because this is great stuff. But one of the questions that Sandy had here, which I think is a good one. Sandy said one of the things that's held her back from Evergreen is being afraid of fake, meaning I hate it when I get on a webinar and it's not live.
Yeah.
And you're not suggesting that people fake the environment, because there's even software that crazy enough contrives and makes it feel like there's other people on the line when there's not, which, by the way, I am not suggesting. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a proponent of that. I think that's that only comes back to bite you in the butt, because just like what Sandy's experiencing as a somebody who's experienced that, it feels inauthentic, and you feel it doesn't feel good. And so you're not suggesting that.
I'm not suggesting that, but the funny thing is when I'm talking about Evergreen, I'm not even suggesting a webinar necessarily. So we all have autoresponders, right? So if I have you have a report on your website that I could opt in for, and I opt in for it today, is there a thank you email? Probably is, right? Yeah. And if someone opts in tomorrow, they're going to get that thank you email. So you have an evergreen, whether you realize it or not, you have an evergreen autoresponder sequence, and you don't feel fake when you send that email. And if you do, okay, we got a whole nother conversation we got to work through. And so we've run 2-day promotions that are evergreen, and email only sequences. We've done video series and webinars that are evergreen. So I don't want you, if you feel like there's some resistance to the webinar, no matter what I say about that, try another method, because it's the only way to sell is not on a webinar. It definitely helps and it can be extremely effective, but you don't have to do one. I will say, to Stu's point, that yes, if you do decide to do an automated webinar, you just don't want to say anything that would insinuate that it's live. And here's what allowed for me to really get clear and aligned with this, is that it's so sad but so true that most people just don't consume no matter how much you want to help them, no matter how much value you want to give them, if they have all the time in the world to consume it, they're not going to. Most people are super busy and they got a lot of other things on their plate. So really the gift that you're giving them is to say, hey, instead of just paying for this information, I'm going to give it to you for free, but here's the catch. You got to watch it at this time.
You're giving them a kick in the butt.
You're giving them a kick in the butt and saying there's no chance to fast forward. There's no chance to like skip it. Like it's now at this time, and this the what's plaguing our industry really in terms of the information overload, the overwhelm that people are having. I truly believe that this is a gift that we can give people, and the longer I've been around, the more like I just don't have time to do a webinar every day. I can't. We can do a Facebook Live today, but it's not every day that I can just be doing a live webinar.
And I thank you for taking the time for us today, buddy.
Thanks, Stu.
Yeah,
Let's take a moment there. So I just feel like there's another way to look at it. As long as you're being real and authentic with your language, and you're not saying live when it's not. There is a real.
Well, let me give.
Stu.
Yeah, Tim, shout out, buddy. Let me give a couple of examples of something that we're going to do. So you talk about having this backlog of content that the vast majority of people haven't even seen. So we did a live launch and we created all this amazing content. And what we realized was like there was a tiny portion of our audience that ever got to see that. So we're actually going to be reusing that content, and we're going to be actually broadcasting it on Facebook as a Facebook Live. But what we're going to do is we're going to say live replay. So like we're going to be upfront about the fact that this is not live, but it's a replay.
Yes.
And I think that I think the more you can just be upfront with people about so that you manage expectations. Like you said, not saying that it's live when it isn't, and just being authentic. I think like as long as you're straight up with people,
Absolutely.
Get it, so.
Well, and here's something else I want to say that I want to make sure.
We may have to keep this short because I'm going to have to get you to the airport.
Oh yeah, I got to go, huh? Okay, so this will be the final thing is having a deadline on an evergreen is really important. And we use a fantastic software created by a gentleman by the name of Jack Bourne. Do you know Jack?
Yeah, okay. Jack's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Deadlinefunnel.com, and that's what we use to set up deadlines. And it's a unique deadline to every person, but it's the first software I have seen that is a true deadline. It's not just some like countdown timer that redirects people. It literally associates with the IP address and with the contact record that this offer is now off the table for that individual. And I think that's just the only way you can really do it, if you're going to do an evergreen campaign and have a deadline.
Tori Lynn commented on the fact that we matched up today. Yeah.
What?
So,
look at that.
Yeah. We thanks, Tori.
It was on his blog.
We
so.
we did get together this morning and say, let's match up for our Facebook Live today. Travis said, by the way, thanks for that, and he also, Clint said thanks for that, and Clint was saying that he used
ManyChat. I just heard about that, and we're really excited to use that.
Yeah, we're beginning to experiment with it. Clint and I were actually talking about it, in private Facebook Messenger, and because it's a great way to automate some of that messaging. So awesome. All right, gang. Well, thank you so much for dropping by, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
It's time to get you to the airport.
Okay, let's go.
All right. So, conclusion is, it's not live launch or evergreen funnel. It's both, and they both work synergistically in your business, and I think that's the real key for all of us. So, if you're heavy on the live launches, start to look at how you can incorporate more evergreen funnels. And if you're heavy on the evergreen funnels, look to see how you can incorporate more live components, because it really does drive a lot more people into your business, and you learn a lot more. So, all right, with that, thanks guys. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye.